the webinar process.
Yes.
So,
Please.
so on behalf of Office of Dean's Research as well as the Training and Development of St. Albert's College, I would like to welcome each and every participants who have registered. And we had some technical hitches at the beginning, but the technical team over here could somehow tackle it, and we are online. And my dear participants, we have received somewhere around 890 somewhere participants for this webinar on research and publications ethics in science. It's my privilege, the Office of Deans of Research of Dr. Rajesh Kunjanpillai sir and my office, that it's our privilege to welcome each and everyone who have registered with the St. Albert's College for this webinar. And moving to my responsibility to introduce our beloved speaker and the Dean of Research of St. Albert's College, Dr. Rajesh Kunjanpillai. Dr. Rajesh Kunjanpillai serves as the Dean, as shared earlier, of Research of St. Albert's College, Autonomous. He did his Chemical Sciences PG from the Pondicherry Central University. After his MSc, he associated in the Shawson Research Center, a public limited pharmaceutical company. I'm really sorry. A pharmaceutical company in Chennai, where he was actively engaged in the drug research under the guidance of Dr. K.K. Balasubramanian, the former professor of IIT Madras. In 2006, he was promoted to the Research and Development Officer at Shawson and gained experience in the pharma pilot plants. After more than 3 years of his industrial experience, he joined as a senior research fellow under the Professor Irshi and Nambudiri, the Department of Chemistry in IIT Bombay. In 2009, with a scholarship from the Swiss National Science Foundation, he moved to the University of Zurich, Switzerland, where he was awarded his doctoral research degree in 2003 under the supervision of Professor Heinz Berkey. In 2014, he joined in IIRBS, the MG University Kottayam, but later that year moved to IIT Bombay as an institute postdoctoral research fellow. Dr. Kunjanpillai was awarded the DST SERB Young Scientist Fellowship in July 2015. He joined as the assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry, St. Albert's College, Ernakulam. He has been serving as a visiting faculty in IIRBS in the MG University since 2016. Dr. Kunjanpillai successfully completed 3 years of SERB research project and supervised a project assistant during the time. He was recognized. He's recognized as a research guide by MG University Kottayam in 2019, and Dr. Kunjanpillai has more than 14 years of research experience and has published many research articles in the reputed international journals. Notable works in his research include the nuclear bromination of deactivated aromatics using NBS, which got almost 100 citations from the reputed international journals. He has also developed a versatile strategy for the Claisen-Tishchenko reaction. Both the reactions are part of the UG and PG chemistry syllabus of the universities, institutes all over the world. His research interest includes organic synthesis, organometallics, and homogeneous catalysis. Since 2016, he has been serving as a secretary office of the Dean Research and is now in charge of the DST FIST facility of the college. And on behalf of the both the Office of Deans, I cordially welcome Dr. Rajesh Kunjanpillai to lead the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Shine, for your kind introduction. So maybe I think I should correct that I completed my PhD in 2013. So thank you and welcome you all for this webinar. So I hope I can start the presentation. Unfortunately, I cannot see any of you because the actual presentation is on another platform. The presentation to you is another platform. So welcome you all, and let me start my presentation. So good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can see my presentation. So as you know, the topic is nothing but research and publication ethics in science. So first, we will see what is research. Maybe if you look into the Oxford definition, it's nothing but the systematic investigation into the study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. So maybe what we should note from this definition, it is not a simple investigation, it is a systematic investigation. And it is what we are investigating is nothing but investigating something material and also its sources. And we find facts and we seek the relation between cause-effect. It is simply cause-effect relations. And also to find new things and arrive at new conclusions. And that adds up to the existing knowledge, of course. And why we require research? I believe I should not have to say this, but still, we all know the world has come to this stage only due to research. We are actually in this platform of Google Meet, or YouTube, or some other platform. How the scientists have developed? It's because of the effort of many, continuous effort of scientists. Their research that has led us to use this platform. And if you look our surroundings, whatever is made there is an effort by scientists. And sharing or publishing the results of research has led to the progress of mankind, of course. The knowledge we should not keep with us. We have to share. The best medium is nothing but publication. To publish. And that's why research without publishing is really dirt. That's why there is a saying between the scientific community, the researchers community, that publish or perish. And when coming to ethics in research, so research ethics is nothing but a set of acceptable values which researchers should follow throughout the conduct of research. So it is a protocol that every individual who is engaged in research must follow in order for the smooth execution of the research, thereby leading to scientific progress and integrity. So why ethics in research? If research is not there, as I have said in the previous slide, no development is possible at all. And another important problem, if you are giving a false information, it can be life-threatening, lead to destruction of property and waste of wealth, time, of course. And maybe I have taken from the Elsevier site, a beautiful article was there on ethics. So, top 5 reasons to publish ethically. As you can see here, it ensures scientific progress. It protects life and the planet, of course. It promotes ethical behavior. It's good for the reputation. And it is the only way. So, integrity, ethics, respect, honesty, all these things are mutually connected. They are linked together. So when coming to scientific misconduct, and when you look into the publication side, some of the aspects maybe we have heard about, most of us. Improper authorship, competing interest behind publishing something, plagiarism, which is a frequently appeared term nowadays, and simultaneous submitting the same article or paper to more than one journals, and research fraud, and salami slicing is nothing but an article is made into different pieces and submitting in different journals just to increase the number of publications. So coming to authorship, so one by one we'll look. Coming to authorship, an author, who is an author? So is an individual who has made a significant intellectual contribution to the study. So now an author must have a significant intellectual. That word has a huge meaning. The word has an important meaning in this particular sentence. So the intellectual contribution to study is important for authors. So naming authors on a scientific paper actually ensures appropriate individuals get credit. And that is the encouragement, as you have seen here in a previous slide. It is the way, and it is a reward. And without scientific reward, that also affects scientific progress, because everything is motivation. So omitting a contributor's name in a research work is obviously a form of misconduct, no doubt. So if a substantial contribution has made by an author, we are obliged to give his or her name in that paper. And ordering authorship, ordering in the sense arranging first order, second order, that's also important. So incorrect or injustice ordering of authorship is actually also an unethical act. So if we come further into authorship, we may see 3 types of authorships. So one is author like ghost, who are often paid by commercial sources, like maybe in a simple way, like a scientist write a paper, he or she wanted to submit to a journal. Maybe it is not bad that he or she can give that paper to an expert who is an expert in English, so that they may help, not intellectually, but language-wise. And we submit it. So in that case, they are actually ghost authors, and we must acknowledge them. We don't have to give them authorship, but we must acknowledge them. And guest authors who make no contributions. So some people do not have any contribution, but we keep their name, and we may feel that because of their reputation, the paper may get accepted. So sometimes we see such kind of unethical aspects. And another is gift authors, whose contribution is based solely on the tenuous affiliation with a study. That means, maybe, for instance, I am the head of a department, and the teachers, they have published something. So I do not know what they publish. I have not at all engaged in that publication. But if I get an authorship, then I am a gifted author, right? So such kind of act is also unacceptable. And another we have seen in the heading, like competing interest. So when an investigator, author, editor, or even a reviewer has a financial or personal interest, and that interest affect the integrity or the objectivity of the research, maybe in the reviewer case, making decision, in the editor case also. So such kind of interest are competing interest. They are of different kinds. And in such case, we may say that a potential competing interest exists. So like grant support. So grant support means maybe not the usual grant we get from funding agencies, like government funding agencies particularly for research. So for them, we acknowledge with the number of the publication, number of the grants. That is the way. But maybe grant, maybe a personal grant or some sort of other grant, and relevant employment offer, then patents connected to the paper. Maybe we are planning to patent, or we have applied for a patent, but still we are publishing. Okay, so our interest is actually on patent and all, but we are publishing here. So that is also a competing interest. Then personal financial interest by the author or any family member. Then compensations like travel, funding, consultancies, board position, royalty. Okay, so if that means because of the paper, if one gets these offers or something, maybe a position, so such things are to be reported, or we must disclose such kind of interest. So many of the journals nowadays, they ask a declaration that the authors do not have any competing interest. So if any interest is there, you may disclose. So see, look into this, a competing interest, a financial interest. So I will be using some here and there, some cartoons. This is just for better understanding. Okay. So they say a company manager, say a researcher. So he's asking, hey doctor, give us a favorable result. There is a high demand for the drug. So give us a favorable result. Okay. And he's just reminding us the last instance, hope your personal account number given to us is correct. So the researcher will be really in a troubled situation, right? So in this case, actually this picked cartoons I have taken from the net. The references are given, but the sentences I did not take from anywhere, because that is also not unethical, right? And another thing is a personal interest. You see, a professor and a student, oh, she's my niece waiting to get a faculty position. You give part of your work to her to complete her thesis. Wow. So this can also, right? So why am I showing is, this is just to be aware of, to be careful about many of the situations we may knowingly or unknowingly indulge into problems otherwise. And competing personal interest. So like a reviewer, we are keeping the reviewer name, and we are informing, oh, we'll keep you as a reviewer, please help. Okay, or we are planning to submit a paper, right? Oh, sure, but don't do too much fraud as last time. So this is just for understanding. Okay, so do not feel like aiming somebody or something. It doesn't mean like that. Okay, that is not the way. And whatever is there, state whether potential competing interests do or do not exist. That is very important. And disclose funding sources and acknowledge them properly. So another one is plagiarism. So that is a common unethical issue, right? Many of us know much more about plagiarism because we frequently hear this word, particularly the PhD scholars. So plagiarism means kidnapper, of course. It's kidnapping only. So as per our UGC regulations, so before submitting the PhD thesis or synopsis, the thesis must go through this platform of plagiarism check. So the practice of taking someone else's work or idea and passing them off as one's own. So taking from somebody and claiming that this is, I have made this. And another thing, sometimes people may think, oh, this is my work. What's the problem? You see, self-plagiarism is also unethical. What is self-plagiarism? Recycling or reusing your own work. Maybe now I published a paper. That it's same introduction or part, maybe a related paper, next paper, I am putting the same and submitting. So even though I didn't take from somewhere else, this cannot be acceptable at all. So this is a sort of self-plagiarism. We do not want any repetitions in our literature, right? Sorry. Yes, so coming to plagiarism. So all of the following are considered plagiarism. Turning in someone else's work as your own, copying words or ideas from someone else without giving credit, failing to put a quotation in quotation mark. So if a quotation is there, if it's taking as something, you must give a quotation mark and appropriate reference. Giving incorrect information about the source, changing words but copying the sentence structure of a source without giving credit. So you take sentence and you may write in your own words, maybe some introduction part. You can write, do not copy the idea you keep in your mind and you write in your own language, and you must anyway give credit, give the reference. And copying so many words or ideas from a source and giving reference doesn't make any sense. Even if you give reference or if you do not give it, one cannot really copy too many words or sentences or ideas from anywhere else. And to present as new and original idea or product derived from an existing source. Already something is existing. We are presenting as if like it's a new idea or something. So these all are plagiarism. So it's a part of plagiarism. And also another thing is that you have found out something, you are publishing, but you should honestly disclose all whatever the results and whatever the method you have used. Maybe you should not think about, oh, if I give my procedure, people will start entering into my area and that will affect me. So let me hide this particular, how to prepare this stuff, and let me keep, maybe, or I put some like in a running style and in that part. So such kind of acts are also actually comes under unethical aspect. So avoid plagiarism. When it comes to our work, always remember to credit the work of others. And always remember, always place our work in the context of the advancement of field. For example, if I am thinking, oh, let me find a medicine or a vaccine for COVID-19, it's impossible. If anybody is starting to find a research in this aspect, first he or she has to go to the background of the research. That is nothing but the introduction, right? Without that, we cannot do anything. No, so, yeah. So when it is coming to the true research, introduction is a major possibility of plagiarism because you are doing research, so it's your own work. So you are writing in your own words. So in that case, I would say there is only very less chance of plagiarism. But the chance of plagiarism comes into picture in the introduction part. So introduction is nothing but achievements and understandings achieved so far in a particular area. What are the achievements or what are the understandings so far? That is the introduction. And without knowing introduction, do not start research. Obviously, whatever we wanted to start, we study it till the progress up to we study the progress in that particular area till today, right? That is the introduction. So we are already we are doing the introduction, and then only we are doing research. Then there is no need of copying any introduction when it is coming to a paper. So do not copy any sentence from anywhere. Instead, write in on words and give appropriate reference in the introduction. Sometimes someone published your hypothesis, started working on something, that time parallelly somebody published. Okay, so I didn't come across, but I have seen one of my friends who was doing a lot of good work, but similar work came in public, that time it published. So we don't have to panic. So in a true research, nobody can think exactly the same, right? Even in a hypothesis also. So we will have something, and maybe we just divert. Many of the times we will have that option. We just redefine little bit of our hypothesis and do accordingly without compromising the quality. So maybe a new sort of hypothesis come into picture. So all these possibilities you may explore. You don't get panic in such kind of situations. And simultaneous situation, from the name itself, you may understand it. So simultaneous submission occur when a person submits a paper to different publications at the same time, which can result in more than one journal, right? Publishing. So it's actually everything duplicating times. So we don't want in our literature to be filled with repetitions. So sharing essentially the same hypothesis, data, discussion points, or conclusions. So it can result in inappropriate, as I said, weighting of the results of a single study. And of course, it's a waste of money, time, and space. Space in the sense in library, and also the server space. So this is not encouraged, right? So authors have an obligation to make sure their paper is based on original, never before published research. So if you want to submit your paper to a journal that is published in a different language, with just changing language, you ask for permission from both the publishers, so already published and the publisher whom you are going to publish. Yeah, this is of course the right way and acceptable. And another area is the research fraud. So research fraud is publishing data or conclusions that were not generated by experiments. So without experiments, we are just trying to publish something. I would say trying to publish, because in genuine and reputed journals, you cannot really publish. Or, yeah, so this can be actually, maybe broadly, we can classify them into two. One is fabrication. So making up research data and results and recording or reporting those. So just completely cooking 100% and submitting. And another is falsification. Falsification is also serious. See, manipulating research materials, or you're manipulating some image so that is in line or it meets with your hypothesis. For instance, you have an image, an original image, come out of your research. One part of the image is in line with your hypothesis, very beautiful, nicely pictured, but the other part of the image is not agreeing with the hypothesis. So there may be a tendency to exclude the part which is not in line with the hypothesis and publish the remaining. So that is actually the manipulation, right? So that is also considered as a research fraud. And both fabrication and falsification are serious forms of misconduct because they result in a scientific record that doesn't accurately reflect observed truth. Remember that. Whatever you publish, it's recorded. So it's for the future. So when somebody looks back, it is there always. So one has to be very careful in these aspects. So stealing someone's work and publishing as thesis or a publication or research report, of course, I don't have to tell you. This is a totally a fraud aspect, right? And someone else doing research work and writing thesis. So from A to Z, it is a researcher's duty to be responsible for whatever the data or tables or conclusions you arrive. You have to be very careful. So this is what I should prove my hypothesis. See, it's going okay, but here two are down without, so, but still coming to a straight line to prove the hypothesis. So I am saying this all in order to do such kind of acts. Maybe sometimes we don't care, or unknowingly sometimes it can happen. These kind of things sometimes it can have unknowingly, maybe because of some pressure in research or something. But always be careful that once you are published, it is published. So an impact of misconduct, maybe I do not know, some of you would know. So in 1998, so this is, I am going to speak on a paper which was highly influenced. Okay, we will see how it was influenced. So it was a 1998 paper published by Andrew Wakefield. So it was a doctor, and 12 of his colleagues published a case series in the Lancet. So Lancet is a British medical journal. I think it has an impact factor close to 60, which claimed that the measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine we take, right, for our children may trigger autism. You see, it is something which make us afraid, right? So the paper received wide publicity, and MMR vaccination rates began to drop. So totally worried, parents said. Obviously, scientists and organizations, particularly the MMR vaccine industries, started investigating it. And what was the effect? Actually, there was no causal link could be established between the MMR vaccine and autism. And that led to the retraction of the Lancet paper in 2010. So what is the effect of this? The paper is retracted, fine. But what is the effect? So it is, we will look the effect of fraud. So parents across the world did not vaccinate their children because of the fear. Measles outbreak in UK in 2008 and 9, as well as in the United States and Canada. So that was actually because of non-vaccination in children. So this is the paper just to show you, that's all. So another is salami slicing. As you have seen, I just gave an introduction. Like some, this is nothing but slicing into pieces. So a meaningful paper has been cut into pieces and published in different journals just to increase the number of publications. So you see, as long as the slices of a broken up study share the same hypothesis, same image, same population, same methods, we are not supposed to do it. So the same slices should not be published. So coming to another unethical, like of course an unintentional but a careless act, we would say. Maybe some of you would have known about this, the thalidomide tragedy. So thalidomide was a drug which was administered for treatment of morning sickness in pregnant women. So maybe chemistry students and teachers would know by seeing the structure. This looks same, but you can see maybe here some differences. I'm not going into the chemistry or something. Maybe some difference in bold line and all you can see. So that is a difference. So we call it as R and this call it as S for time. So actually this was produced in a 50-50 ratio. Okay, so 50-50 molar ratio and not separated. So this one R was really effective for morning sickness, but the S has a very bad adverse effect that has led to the condition of phocomelia, that is a malformation of legs and arms. You can see this child, the arms you can observe. You see this is also the arms of the child. So this was administered in pregnant women and 200 deaths, particularly in Germany, because first actually the company, first it was marketed there, and 10,000 born with serious birth defects. So then what they tried, they separated this, and only R was administered maybe in clinical trials again. But R was also not effective because when it entered in the body, it actually, we call it as racemize in chemistry. Actually, again, 50-50, this was formed in body. So that was not, it was banned for administering to, in the sense of against morning sickness. But still, this is there. It's also a World Health Organization's essential medicine, but for different other diseases. And ethical principles, as we again, maybe it is, I think it's again a repetition, maybe. Of course, maybe just we will read it like, do not fabricate or exaggerate, avoid bias, act with sincerity, then avoid careless errors and negligences, like what we have seen in the previous slide. Then openness, share ideas and tools, resources, open to criticism. So if you are working in a laboratory also, you just share your ideas with others. Okay, so then only science develops. And respect for intellectual property, so honor patents, copyrights. Okay, you should never plagiarize. Then communications and patient records of some kind of situations, you may keep it confidentially if it is required. And responsible in publication, so advanced research, so and scholarship. So research is maybe mainly we should aim for advancement of science and also to get scholarship, then only we can continue our work. So not just to improve the career. Of course, that is also important. But the first one, we are really teachers and researchers are particularly responsible. And ethical principles continued. So educate, mentor, and advise your students. So just don't take students and leave them whatever they will do after 5 years. Don't go and ask them, so what is the result of what you are doing for 5 years and something like that. So you should follow. You should give advice wherever it is required. You should motivate them. You should encourage them. It's very important. And respect for colleagues, treat them fairly, all colleagues. Social responsibility, so promote social good, non-discrimination, avoid on the basis of caste, race, sex, and ethnicity, because science doesn't have any discrimination of towards ethnicity. Competence, so improve your own professional expertise, obey relevant laws, respect and care for animals. So respect animals if you are working with them, and understand the local laws, and also human subject protection, respect human dignity, privacy, and autonomy. And also when you do clinical trials and all, so tell the patient, inform the patient what you are doing in advance. So this is all actually, that is a way, it's happening in that way only. So just to understand. And another important aspect is always remember that it's not the quantity, instead the quality is measured. So for instance, simply quantifying certain parameters from different sources or areas does not really help with even a large number of publications, right? So maybe in a localized research, okay. So I'm not criticizing. So many of us do not have much funding or such kind of facilities, or it's clearly understandable. But always keep in mind, or try to be away from this. And for that, we have actually parallelly, we have a chemist and other scientists appointed in concerned government departments for many of those kinds of research. But imagine, how about a real researcher who finds a single molecule of potential activity towards a disease, maybe, and now it's important, maybe a COVID-19 vaccine, during the entire course of PhD or even his or her career, just one publication. And in some of the areas of science, you cannot get immediately any publication because it may be very, very difficult. So I will come into that. Maybe research in science, here. So we will compare just the left-hand side and right-hand side. I would say this is just for some information to make our research better and thereby contribute to the society. So you see, research in science coming to one type is analyzing something. Always, if you analyze something, you always have a result, right? Whatever you do, you analyze, or you will have a result, definitely 100% result. You will never be without result. And that cannot be considered in true sense as a discovery. And that may have only a localized interest, and that too occasional, and less scope for real and new scientific knowledge. So you may also think what I am contributing to the scientific community or to the students. Then parameters change over time. So in this kind of research, usually the parameters also change time. Maybe after some time, if somebody checked the same, maybe it may differ. So you have a lot of freedom also in this kind of research. But coming to the right-hand side, you see, contributes to the academic learning. So there are some researchers that contribute to academic learning, then contribute to industry, discovering something new. That's great. But the problem is mostly failure, like the do or die strategy. Do or die strategy, mostly failure. Top university or institutes in the world do, and that's why they are top, right? Publishing attracts worldwide attention. So such kind of publishing really attracts worldwide attention. Results may change or add up to existing knowledge. So in this cases, if some new knowledge comes into picture, it is added, definitely it adds to the existing knowledge, right? That's good. Difficult to execute, time consuming and expensive. Of course, there is no doubt. It's difficult, time consuming and expensive. A lot of patience is required. Require up-to-date understanding of literature. Okay, one must have aware of the recent articles that are published in his or her research. That is very, very important. So come to the morning to the lab or your office, maybe a research guide or student. First, go to the computer and see if something new has come into reputed journals. Just you don't have to read everything. You will understand actually when you look into the table of contents or as soon as publishable articles. So that is a good way that you can brush up. So if you are finding something interesting, you can click and read what it is. Oh, that's the way. So high dedication and scientific thinking is also required in this scenario. And of course, it increases reputation, not only of the institution, reputation of the researcher, right? So many of us are more concerned about impact factor. So we will see what is impact factor. So impact factor in an year Y is equal to citations in year Y minus 1. So maybe we will come look into the down one. Maybe that is much more better. So impact factor of year 2019 you want to calculate for a particular journal. So citations in year 2018 plus citations in year 2017 for all the journals, sorry, all the papers published in that journal over or divided by are the total number of articles published in those 2 years, 2018 and 2017. So from this equation, we will get an idea how an impact factor one can increase the impact factor, right? So on an average, you may understand if a paper gets one citation, and on an average, the impact factor is 1. So that's all. But measure of quality, it is of course a measure of quality of journal, but it's not always. Cannot compare between general and applied journals. So that I will come into the next slide. So when a large, also maybe impact factor depends on many aspects. When a large number of people are working on a same field and the particular field has a journal, then the chance of citing everyone's article is high, right? So that also contribute to impact factor. Okay. So we will look into 2 journals. Definitely both the journals are really reputed. There is no question in that. This is a journal of, it's a dream of a chemist, any chemist, to publish one JACS. And this is a material today, of course, a dream of a material scientist to publish in key materials today. So this is just a comparison. You see the impact factor of JACS is 14.7 and impact factor of materials today is 24.4. Maybe if you take the 5-year impact factor, it is more. Coming to another aspect, the citations, you can see from 1999 onwards is given here. See, this is 14.7. Now it has reached 2018 and here to 24.4. This is just to show you. So we will see reputation. So this is impact factor we have seen. So this Scimago journal ranking, this is a nowadays a very genuine journal ranking, that is a SJR, is a measure of reputation or prestige of journal. And that's given here. So many aspects they consider for this. For every journal it is there. You see, this is the SJR, the Scimago journal ranking. So you can see this is 7 and material today is 7.6. So there's not much difference between the reputation of these 2 journals, right? And that's what finally countable, not just the impact factor. So both are very good journals, of course, there is no doubt. But again, coming to another thing, you see, this one, the JACS is of course a general high quality chemistry journal. On the other hand, the materials today is a specific high quality material chemistry journal, right? So maybe articles published in material chemistry today may not have been published if submitted to JACS. That means the articles published in materials today, if they were submitted to JACS, may not have been published, because in order to get through into JACS, it is not only this area, it has to compete with the different areas, right? The materials today journal has to compete with all the areas of chemistry in JACS to get published, right? So that is because it is a general journal. But materials chemistry articles published in JACS may have been published if submitted to material chemistry, irrespective of impact. As these articles compete with all sorts of chemistry to get published in the late. So the idea is this: when you publish, when this material, when this JACS article, say a material chemistry article that is published in JACS, so you may understand that that has completed with everything, and that is would have published, submitted to material chemistry today. There is a high chance it would have accepted in material today. So that's what I just wanted to convey. And another thing nowadays, for maybe for NAC accreditation and all, NIR ranking, people speak about H index. So what is H index? So H index actually, it is introduced by George Hirsch in 2005. The University of California, San Diego, is a professor there in the physics department, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. So we will see what he has given in this paper. So the Hirsch index, or H index, is defined as the maximum value of H such that the given author or journal has published H papers that have been cited at least H times. So this is important. H papers that have been cited at least H times. We will see. Let a researcher has 5 publications. So these are the publications P1, P2, any order you can put. Just I put maybe in the descending order of their citations. So citation P1, 36, 15. So it goes like this. So what is the H index here? So you see 4 publications among these 5 have cited 4 or more than 4 times. This is more than 4 times. 1, 2 more than 4 times, 3 more than 4 times, 4 more than 4 times. So H index is 4. So look into this in red. H papers have each been cited at least H times, right? So you may think, in order to, you may understand now, in order to increase the H index to 5, if this 15 has come to 100, this 36 increased to 100, 12 increased to 100, 5 increased to 100, whatever it is, it increased, doesn't make any difference in H index. If you really want to increase the H index, this one, the 5th paper that has only 3 citations has to improve. Just if 3 becomes 5, this 3, if it becomes 5, then you may understand all the 5 papers has got minimum 5 publications. So H index becomes 5. So 5 papers cited minimum 5 times. So if this becomes 5, then it can improve. Whatever increase in these 4 journals, it doesn't make any sense. So this is another sort of reputation and credibility when things come into picture. Of course, this one you can see P means publication, C means citation. So you see almost 10 publications. You see maybe P8, one publication has no citation so far, but one has 86. But whatever it is, the H index is 6 because it has 6 papers. 6 papers with at least 6 citations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So H index is 6. And here you see 10 papers are again there. And you see the citations. H index is 2 because there are only 2 papers which have been cited 2 times. You see, 1, this one 2. You cannot take this one. If you take this, then you cannot change this to 3, because 3, if the number is 3, then you should understand that 3 papers, 3 citations minimum, right? So 1, only 2 papers which have minimum 3 citations. So it cannot be 3. So it is just 2 is the H index in this case. So the H index is intended to measure simultaneously the quality and quantity of scientific output. And coming to the another section, predatory journals. So predatory publishing is a recent Nature article. I took it from that. Predatory journals and publishers are entities that prioritize self-interest at the expense of scholarship and are characterized by false or misleading information, deviation from best editorial and publication practices, a lack of transparency and or the use of aggressive and indiscriminate solicitation practices. So maybe it will be clear. Maybe you see, publishing by charging publication fee from all this. Some of the journals they charge. So they are actually, we can categorize them as predatory journals. If you feel that your work is good, then you don't have to pay some money to get published, right? So you don't have to think in that way to publish by paying money. So just I would say not always. This is not a criticism or something. Beware of the following. Not all. There are good journals which start from international, but there are many journals. They start with the International Journal of. So in science, at least, you may think that, you may understand that in science there is nothing international. Science is for the mankind. It is for man. Whatever you write, you don't have to specify international in science. Science is for the mankind. So that is why. But again, I am saying it is not all. Okay, there are some good papers, of course, no doubt. Then impact factor given in the article. Some papers give their impact factor. The impact factor of this journal. Impact factor is this, that, inside the journal. So maybe you may be careful. Okay, not all. Again, not all. Just to get an idea for you. You may not know this. That's why I am saying. So paying money, of course, many of you may know better than me, like all these journals and all. So you can discriminate in a better way. So, which is good, which is bad. So many experienced people, I think, are here. So pay money and publish means you are publishing in a substandard journal. Of course, maybe if you're interested, you can look into this. This very famous librarian, the library scientist, I think from the University of Colorado in the US, Jeffrey Beal. So this list of predatory open access publishing. So most of the journals are given there. So if you keep this list, then you may understand. Because why I am saying is, maybe tomorrow UGC eliminate your journal, your paper, then you will be in trouble, right? For that scenario, I thought I should convey it to you. So this is a 2018 article, came from a few leading scientists in India. The critical analysis of UGC approved list of journals. So you don't have to read these things. So at least they have analyzed the UGC journal. So that's why, because of this, after this paper only, the UGC has actually eliminated a large number of paper publications outside their list. So some basic, so what they did in this paper, they took a large number of papers, and first they put some basic information like a publisher, whether the publisher is genuine. So some we can understand very easily if you put website, editor detail, maybe a fake editor, maybe really editor may not be there. So their current status, all this, these are very, very famous. So if they failed in this, just you don't need to proceed for any other understanding. I mean, primary and secondary criteria are also there. So basic information is okay, means then they moved to some primary criteria like correctness of ISSN, something of those kinds. Okay, then peer review process, and all these things. And if that is also passed, then there was a second criteria that actually looked into who are the members of their reputation of the members of the editorial panel, and also further into their well-defined peer review processes and all these things, looked much more inside. So basic information, primary criteria, so secondary criteria. So as we go from basics to secondary, it is more and more tougher. So that's only you at this moment you may need to keep in mind. So 32,659 UGC listed journals, they were classified as indexed in Web of Science, indexed in Scopus, indexed in Indian Citation Index, recommended by UGC committee experts, there's an expert committee, and remaining recommended by universities. So there are a lot of universities in our country, so they recommended many journals. And what they did, obviously indexed in Web of Science on Scopus, in Indian Citation Index, and those recommended by UGC experts, they kept on hold. Anyway, it's fine because Web of Science and Scopus, if it is there, means you don't have to look into. Fine. But those recommended by the universities, out of this 32,000 something, almost 5,700 journals, 5,697 journals were from university source, recommended by university. And it was not possible for them to analyze all the journals, so they randomly picked up 1,336 journals, randomly selected for analysis. And out of them, what they found out was good, 327 journals indexed in Scopus of Web of Science, not analyzed. So those recommended by universities, so they have taken 1336, and in 1336, 327 were already in the Scopus or Web of Science. So no need to look into them. Of course, they are not predatory. And remaining 1,009 non-indexed journals subject to basic information criteria analysis. And so you see, almost 1,000 journals. Out of that, 349, a large number, you see 35% journals disqualified based on this. That is basic information criteria, as you have seen here, this one. Basic, like editor and all this. And then remaining 660 journals are there. So we subtract, you get 660 journals subjected to primary criteria analysis. And in the primary criteria analysis, again, 528 journals disqualified, unfortunately. I would say unfortunately, because many of you or many of the researchers would have published in that. And that went out. Of course, ethics-wise, it is correct. They should go, right? So 528 journals disqualified. And remaining 132 journals subject to secondary criteria. They passed the primary, they come to secondary, and 20 journals disqualified, secondary criteria. And finally, 112 was the remaining journals qualified publication protocol. So what is the percentage from 1,009 to 112? Just 11.1 met the protocol, and remaining 88.9 are substandard. So why? No. Maybe if again substandard journals are there, they may also go out of the list. So they also initiated a check on Indian Citation Index. Okay, so maybe I think coming to almost the end. So do we generate? We have to think one thing as students, research scholars, scientists, teachers, research aides. Do we generate knowledge? What is our contribution to subject matters taught in the class? So we are teaching many things to students. We are doing research and everything, but is our contribution, are they learning our contribution? Is our contribution there in the syllabus? We teach someone's findings. Why don't they contribute in these aspects? So just think to contribute into that, then our quality will automatically improve. Reputed journals, patents control the real knowledge actually. The reputed journals. So if you look into, maybe you can easily look into nowadays, you are teaching something, you go back and see where it is published. Maybe it was maybe if you come into science and something was published in late 1800s or 1920, 1930, some papers you will see. So it is of course interesting. Maybe you can give it to your students also assignment to find the original publication, who was published and all these things, just to encourage research, motivation towards research. So research should not focus primarily on publication or patents. Instead, it should aim to solve man's genuine problems. We have a lot of problems. One of the biggest problems is going on now. It will lead to truly high quality publications or patents. So whatever we are using now, it is because of the tremendous effort of many great scientists. We don't bother them. We give publicity. We admire many other people. But what about the scientists? Many scientists, they have given their life in this to generate knowledge, to contribute to the society. So step 2, avoid misconduct in research, is educate the research community to make them aware of the seriousness of misconduct, not to indulge into any problems. That's what we all wanted. Educate the researchers regarding copyright laws, intellectual property rights, and patents. Exercise proper documentation of research from literature survey to publication. It's also important. You start from literature survey, you download journals. From that till the publication, you make a record. What you lab, your lab journal or lab notebook, everything should be there with you. You keep it as a record. It will really help you. Form institute level ethical committee. So it's also advisable. Institutes can form an ethical level committee so that things become more serious. So cut increments or suspend or dismiss in serious misconduct cases. Please do not think that I am saying all these things. Okay. So this is only this is that people propose. So encourage only those who are interested to do research. That's of course right. So do research if you are truly motivated. If you are not motivated, I would say, then you will indulge into problems with regard to ethics and other aspects. So look into this, maybe further to convey some of the steps. It's almost 5 years here. You do not have even a single publication to write to a student. Let me give you a part of his work. He is working here. But be like this girl. What she says, no. I am proud of what I have done. At least I found out what doesn't work. That's enough for my degree. If you are really working, because some areas are extremely difficult. Of course, here UGC prescribes 2 publications of something, but in many countries, maybe in the Western countries also, actually this is not a rule, because the problems, it depends upon the problems we make. But definitely, even if you do not publish in some of the research areas, your 5-year research work or something, 4-year, 5-year or 6-year research work, that would really contribute. Maybe may not be in the form of publication. The next researcher start from where you stopped, right? So such great kind of, I mean, in the case of great works, great research works, it really worth even without publication. Okay, but do not think like this lazy person. See, wow, degree possible without paper. But the problem is, I do not have anything to show even which doesn't work. That is a condition. So be not like this. And I am sure that you all are dedicated and you all wanted to learn something. I'm not a very expert in this. But at least just to remind, and because of your interest, only you joined in this seminar. So that means you are like this girl, so not like this lazy person. So a practice to be discouraged. Another important thing. So some people say they will have a very high reputed work. They worked very hard. They achieved very nice publications. But unfortunately, at least in some, not everywhere, at least in some places, this is what happens. So don't be discouraged in your research. Okay, so making a serious damage to science and thereby the society. You see, a conversation. See, take him. He is my student and will be helpful after we retire. Oh, he has all junk publications, and many candidates with a good track record and outstanding publications are there. Anyway, let me see. This practice is one of the worst practice destroying that can destroy science anywhere in the world. So if any of this kind of practice is there, it's really what is given here, making serious damage to science and thereby the society. And also, this is not so serious like that, but just see a seminar. I have registered but unable to attend the seminar. Send me a certificate. Let me see. So this is also sometimes happens. So conclusion is hope for the best. So anyway, it's not the worst. They are not in the worst side. So scientific misconduct is major issue in research, which can lead to serious damage to mankind. One should respect others' work, the effort taken by publishers, then academia or industry, and all funding bodies. We should really respect them. So they have taken a lot of efforts, publishers, academia, industry, and funding agencies, to minimize unethical aspects in scientific research, and that is really hopeful. So hope for the best. And thank you all for listening this talk. Thank you. Shane sir, please.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your wonderful speech. And it was a wonderful session. And I believe that the researchers, especially the young ones who is the future of the India as well as the world, have benefited from your session. And the new insight may lead the world, especially the research world, into a new dimension. I appreciate your efforts with regard to the research works, and I appreciate your ethics and moral values that you uphold during the activities, especially in the research as well as your personal life. Once again, on behalf of the Office of the Deans of Research as well as the Training and Development of St. Albert's College Autonomous, and on my personal behalf, I sincerely thank our Dr. Rajesh Kunjan Pillai, the promising scientist, a promising researcher, a knowledge generator, a gem of a kind in St. Albert's College. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful speech and sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you, Professor Shine.
I would like to thank all the participants who are here. We had a small technical lag at the beginning, but our technical team could overcome the problems that we faced. So on behalf of the both the entities of St. Albert's College Autonomous, I thank all the participants, especially the researchers, the faculty members from the universities, from the colleges, from various research institutes, and all the students, the young coming researchers on behalf of St. Albert's College. Thank you very much for participating for this program. And with regard to the video of this recorded video will be published in a later stage. By tomorrow at least, you will receive the link of the recorded video of today's talk. Before Monday evening, you will also receive the webinar feedback form, through which you can get your certificates. Please be tuned in the link elearning.alberts.edu.in. The St. Albert's College Autonomous is organizing a lot of webinars during these lockdown days as well as in the coming days. So please follow the website elearning.alberts.edu.in, and please be connected through the social medias and other medias, so that the academic community as well as the research community will be benefited a lot. Once again, thank you very much on behalf of St. Albert's College. Signing off. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Shine, and thank you all the participants. Unfortunately, I couldn't see anybody, but thank you all.